scoured the internet and found what you had to say. And now, I shall expose you.
Hello beautiful people, I'm the Luschmaster. Welcome to my channel. Oh yeah, of course. Subscribe. This is everything you had to say about Louis Litt from Suits. Louis made junior partner thanks to Daniel Hofman, who wasn't going to make Harvey a partner anyways. Louis made senior partner again thanks to Daniel Hofman once he came back to the firm. You can argue he only did it for the vote, but it still happened. The only reason Louis made named partner was by blackmailing Jessica with Mike's secret. It's always going to be in the air as to why he made it. Maybe he would have made it later on in the series, but definitely was never going to be Jessica's doing. Another thing I find funny is Jessica telling Louis, the man who owes his entire career to me, in a scene with them and Jeff Malone, is rich considering she didn't do a thing for his career willingly. It goes to say that while both Louis and Jessica are obviously family, she never really appreciated Louis for his work. There's always going to be an asterisk. And as much as Daniel was hated, he did far more for Louis than Jessica ever did. His team never puts him first. Understandably, he's angry. He gets treated like the middle child. Louis has always considered the people in the firm as his family, even though he has done terrible things to them. Daniel Hofman gave Louis the recognition he deserved, and in the end, he took Jessica's side to end the war. Yeah, I like to dump on Louis, but Harvey is kind of worse, like it or not. Louis had to side with Daniel to advance himself, just like what everyone else in the show would have done. Jessica only agreed to Louis being made junior partner because she had no say in it. If it was up to her, it would have been Harvey. It might have been a move on Daniel's part, but at least he appreciated Louis's contribution to the firm. Most people are saying Louis isn't a team player, but it's actually Harvey that isn't. Louis came to him with a plan to advance both of them to junior partner, and when Daniel says it can only be one, Harvey quickly jumps at the idea, then tells Louis when he gets there he'll help him too. It was okay when he betrayed Louis, but when Louis does it, he's selfish. Harvey does as he pleases all the time, even betraying most people. We've seen these instances when Jessica asked him to help with Paul Porter, but his ego stopped him from securing a partner's vote. Say what you will, but he did it for himself, berating Jessica to take over the firm because she decided to merge. This is the same woman that gave you your start and has been by your side all this time. Don't forget Harvey when looking for another job after Jessica didn't promote him. He couldn't stand the fact that Louis was ahead of him, but Louis had to stay and take the humiliation. And yes, Harvey humiliated Louis all the time and made it okay for Mike to do the same too. Louis was a junior partner when Mike got to the firm, and Harvey basically told him, Louis is a loser here. You don't have to respect him. I like Harvey as a character, but he's not really a great person. I might get hate for saying this, but I feel like he was the most human character out of all of them on the entire show. I'm on season 4, just after Harvey gets VersaLife back from Louis. Each and every season I've wondered why the writers made it that Louis is a top shot lawyer that people should be afraid of, and instead of ever letting him win anything, they give the win to Mike or Harvey instead so that they get the spotlight. I feel like his character just never gets a break in the show. Even when he goes and gets a win, there's something wrong with that Harvey has to fix. But still they expect the audience to believe that he is a force to be reckoned with. I just wish the writers would be a little less up Harvey, Mike's, Jessica's butt and actually give Louis a win sometimes. And I do like Harvey and the rest, but I'm just getting increasingly irritated at how dirty they always do Louis's character. I'm not gonna lie. After the second season, I started feeling incredibly bad for Louis after the writers dogged him time and time again. They tried to make Louis the love-hate character, but I just feel so bad for his character. Louis was so nice to everyone and only became mean when they did something to him. Like when Louis was trying to get Mike to be his associate and Harvey swooped in after Mike said yes to Louis. The cake he was bringing in was so sweet and I felt so bad when he walked away and put the cake in the trash. Louis deserved better. His back must hurt from carrying the whole show. I just started season 4 and anytime Louis is on the screen, it's hilarious. His whole battle with Nigel in season 3 while all the other characters were dealing with very serious cases was so bizarre. I had a good time with that. He can literally flip a switch from goofy, cat-obsessed, ballet-loving psychomaniac, and you wonder how in the hell he got to where he is, to this serious, take-no-prisoner powerhouse in seconds. And you see exactly why he's the bulldog of the firm. He does bring a lot of what goes wrong for him on his own actions, but I still find myself still empathetic towards him. He's one of the reasons I got into the show. Everyone wants to be like Harvey Specter, but it's a true privilege to be misjudged, mistaken, underappreciated, abandoned, and still keep the good core inside like Louis Litt. I wish I could be like Louis Litt. By the end of the series, Louis had the most character growth out of anyone. It was slow and gradual, just like real life, but by the end of season 9, he was easily the most well-adjusted character on the show. He had the greatest character development in later seasons. When Sheila was pregnant and he was about to be managing partner, he said, "For the first time in my life, I don't care what you two think of me. I'm going to be a father, and nothing is more important than that." That is true character development. Mwah! Chef's kiss. I'm doing a rewatch and I noticed that Louis is ridiculously underappreciated, taken for granted, and treated like crap by most of the main characters. Yes, in many ways, he's a man-child, and he can be a vindictive prick, but he's also incredibly protective and loyal to anyone who shows him the least amount of genuine respect. He does act out in ways that make him unlikable, but the main characters do give him nothing to work with. They constantly treat him like he's untrustworthy and hard to work with, but literally every time he makes a good faith effort to be a team player and work with Jessica or Harvey, he gets taken down, given BS assignments not worthy of his intelligence, kept out of the full strategy, and then lashed out upon when something goes wrong, even if it's a result of Jessica or Harvey's actions.
Harvey, I thought we were working together on this.
We are, Louis. Just like a golfer and his caddy work together.
I'm fully on Team Lit. I'm glad his arc ended well. I'm in the middle of season 3 and my goodness do I love Louis. He's just so awkward and lonely, and I just want to give him a big hug because I feel bad for him. I feel like I should hate him, and yeah, he's a self-centered douchebag sometimes, but I feel like he's just misunderstood. Opinions? Because I need to know I'm not alone in thinking this. He has great character development throughout the entire series. You will love him and hate him and then love him again. Glad he improves throughout the seasons though. Proper roller coaster of a character, brilliantly acted by Rick Hofman. I always like the Professor Gerard story when Harvey asks Louis to let it go and he does. To me, that was a real Louis growth moment. I love Harvey and Donna and the others, but what rounds everything up is the existence of Louis. He is the pulse of the show. Louis is just one of the funniest characters on the show. I especially love the cat trial. If you love the Harvey-Louis dynamic, the last seasons will be okay for you. Louis is a complex character. One can't possibly just love him or hate him. You just watch him do his thing. He's probably the most interesting character on the show. I can admit that his dynamic with Katrina Bennett was some of the show's funniest moments so far. It's great when Harvey always says Louis is a very good lawyer despite them always arguing. That's respect right there. The way Louis's character developed throughout the series is awesome. In the beginning, we thought he was rude and selfish. In the end, he's the most gentle and awesome character I've ever seen. Louis is a tough litigator. He's a bulldog in closed-door negotiations, but he doesn't have the personality or people skills to be a good trial lawyer, which is why Mike and Harvey, way more personable and likable, always have to come to help him. Closed-door litigations are boring AF, so they really put those scenes in the show, so we never really get to see Louis in his comfort zone, while court is definitely Mike's and Harvey's. At the end of season 7, Louis gives Mike a check for $500,000 to save the clinic. He says it's an anonymous donation from his own pocket and he never wants it back. We know that Louis has a lot of money, but this is above and beyond. I think he used the money Forsman made him embezzle to pay for this. In season 4, he mentions that he never spent Forceman's money, and maybe this is a way to clear his conscience. Throughout the show, you see Harvey referring to himself repeatedly as Batman and Mike as his sidekick Robin. This seems accurate to us as the viewer, as we know Harvey often bends rules and doesn't go by the book to do what he deems right, and Mike is right there with him, helping him. Plus, he looks like a child, which fits the Robin description. Louis, on the other hand, always refers to Harvey as Superman, showing us that Louis sees Harvey very differently from how Harvey sees himself. Louis has always acted as though Harvey is just completely alien and a superior breed. This is demonstrated even further when Louis pretends to be Harvey and gets an absurdly unrealistic lifestyle that even Harvey wouldn't actually get. This explains why Louis would always be so jealous of Harvey in the beginning, since he's blinded by his love for him. The spin-off we never got. But with a twist. He's a stay-at-home dad, taking his sass and rage to the playground and PTA meetings. He develops a passion for baking and eventually consults with Esther's company, where he runs the new baking apprenticeship and they get lit up. A Gordon Ramsay on steroids like we've never seen. I didn't realize that Louis is secretly a genius. It is hard to appreciate someone who lashes out like Louis. Whatever good he does is offset by the negatives. Some of his actions against Harvey and others in the firm are unconscionable. You can't take it back. He loves to threaten. I don't feel any sympathy for him. He's insecure and he never grew up. I can't find anything about Louis to like. Not a fan of the character in the least. The way he talks to people from the start just bugged me. The funny part of it all is how often he sexually harasses people and says and does things that would get him sued in a second. He's a true narcissist. He feels like he's owed everything, but shows that he's not only jealous of Harvey, he wants to be him. He even told his parents that he and Harvey are best friends. I love Louis, but he is indeed a bit immature. The social dynamics that play out with him and Harvey and Mike remind me of high school kids fighting for the popular kids' approval. Louis is a successful and talented lawyer. He needs to be more confident and stop competing for Mike's time and attention, or just accept the fact that your friends will also have other friends. I'm on season 5 and I'm simply done with Louis Litt right now, regardless of what I might feel in the future. I thought I would compile some thoughts about this guy. So, for a prompt about something that I'm passionate about in my English class, I wrote the following. Louis Litt, a character on the TV show Suits, is often considered one of the most irritating characters on the show. He's an attorney who works at the same law firm as the show's main character, Harvey Specter. Louis is known for his insecurity, constant need for approval, and lack of self-awareness, which makes him a challenging character to tolerate. Here are a few reasons why Louis Litt from Suits is annoying. Firstly, Louis Litt is often a source of unnecessary drama in the show. He's highly sensitive and takes things too personally, leading to conflicts with his colleagues. Louis's insecurities often result in him making rash decisions and blaming others for his mistakes, causing further tension in the workplace. Secondly, Louis is a selfish character who often puts his own interests above those of others. He frequently undermines his colleagues and allies, even those who have supported him in the past. Louis's egotistical nature often blinds him to the consequences of his actions, which can lead to negative outcomes for those around him. Lastly, Louis Litt is an insufferable character due to his constant need for approval and validation. He seeks recognition from his colleagues and superiors, but his insecurities prevent him from earning their respect. His desperate attempts to be seen as an equal often result in him being the butt of the jokes or mocked by his colleagues. In conclusion, Louis Litt is an irritating character in Suits due to his self-centered behavior, constant drama, and need for validation. Despite his talent as a lawyer, his personality often gets in the way of his success, making him a frustrating character for the viewers to watch. While some may argue that his character adds to the show's dynamic, his negative traits often overshadow his contributions, making him an annoyance to many. I think the writers wanted you to hate Louis at that point of the story. His arc is structured in a way that he's always making the wrong choices, burning any goodwill he builds whenever he makes the right choices in the first half of the story, only for him to turn around and become the most likable one from mid-season 5 onwards when he gets more comfortable in showing his vulnerabilities and when he's truly challenged to show his loyalty and passes repeatedly with flying colors. I don't think he redeems himself at all. The writers just whitewash him by showing his softer side. For example, the mudding, the ballet, the cats, etc. But he does some irredeemable things throughout the show. He's the kind of person who would step over everyone to get what he wants, and I am tired of people making excuses for his actions. I'm currently on season 5, watching for the first time, and up until now, Louis Litt is for sure my most hated character in the show. Louis can be the most brilliant and the most naive person, both at the same time. They never trust Louis with anything important because he always screws it up. Louis had innumerable fireable offenses and gets a pass. His treatment of Monica Eaton is textbook sexual harassment, for instance, way before Harvey starts crossing lines, chronologically speaking. He's a kind of unlikable person. Harvey didn't want to hang with him for half an hour, for instance, which is more than fair. I also have a number of coworkers I don't want to hang out with on my downtime. He holds grudges over petty and sometimes imagined slights, and doesn't really do anything to nurture relationships with other people that he claims to care about. You can sympathize with him, but as the saying goes, if all you run to are pricks, you're probably a prick too. Also, Harvey points out that Louis barely voted with him after finding out Hardman committed fraud. It's not a negative, but that would certainly be damned by faint praise in my book. It's not even about court, because we're shown Louis killing it in court and having good relationships with the toughest of judges. Louis' weak spot is in closing clients and negotiating with opposing people that know they have the upper hand. In short, he can break witnesses and play odds in court with ease, but he can't play the man. And since the whole show is mostly about playing the man, Louis's strengths are downplayed. Don't forget he wasted the firm's money on a cat trial. You're gonna love how he treats certain people early in season 7. I love how Litt bullies the interns. That's the best. Now, when Louis pretends to be Harvey, it is one of the best scenes. What are some of your favorite moments by Louis Litt from Suits? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you again next time. Tra-la-la.